Hey everyone. Okay, so first off, I believe I made a mistake with the last chapter. It wasn't Teach that Dragon was attempting to save. It was Shanks and Shamrock as shown in this chapter. Although that, in some ways, that makes it even more twisted because just the fact that he made the attempt to leave the island with the twins means he's gonna come into confrontation with Garling probably very soon. And on that note, while there's so much going on within the chapter itself, I like how we still see everything from like Dragon's perspective in the backdrop of the events of God Valley. And going off what I said last week, I really love how this whole experience is what is kind of driving him closer to becoming the man we would see in the present. Like seeing both the atrocities the government commits with his own eyes, while also seeing hope in those who fight for it. And it does kind of it all these events are kind of coalescing to kind of form the character we would know Dragon to be. And I know the scene of Dragon seeing Ivankov rally the slaves might be controversial for some, as there are people who I imagine will see it as it ruining Dragon's character and how he's not really this influential leader we thought he was, since it was Ivankov who motivated. So, since some may see it as Ivankov being the one who motivated him to act, but two counterpoints I would argue against that is I feel the opening of this flashback is to pull off the veil of all these legends and to show the human underneath all of it, all of them. But in terms of Dragon specifically, like the man has already reached his breaking point. I'd say has already reached his breaking point to the point where I'd say killing that celestial dragon only pushed him over the edge. And honestly, if anything, I think the scene of Dragon like pretty much like watching Ivankov kind of rally the slaves. I think it does. I think if anything, it does reinforce like the mutual respect they have for each other, and why Dragon considers Ivankov not just an equal but a friend too, because they pretty much both have they both have the same ideals and a lot of ideas and kind of the same drive in order to actually like change things. Um, with that said, let's get to the rest of the chapter, because yeah, there's a lot, and I like how Oda continues to emphasize the fact that the government, the celestial dragons, like these are the holy knights, like these are not redeemable people. They are monsters. Yosgard, Rocinante, and Homing were basically the exceptions to that rule. But as far as the rest, yeah, there's no way in order to pull off a conceivably believable redemption for basically any of these people. They need to be wiped off the face of the map right alongside Emu and the Elders. And yes, that even includes Gunko. Like I don't care what the connection to Brook is at this point, other than to get confirmation if there really is a family ties there. Like this more than any other time before is like the biggest mask off moment for the government for me, and showed how vindictive and cruel they all are. And while I don't want to outright say it validates Teach's ideology or world conquest, it's not hard to see how he came to that conclusion either, especially after being considered a prized rabbit of just from having the blood of Davy D. Jones. Also, I know this was already confirmed way back in Egghead when we got Kuma's flashback, but it not only figures that Saturn was the one to organize this whole thing, but that the mission Garling was sent on at the time was in order to round up all these rare people in order to be prize hunts, so to speak. And knowing that Shanks and Shamrock are his sons, it's one of those things that make me say, for as much as people give Dragon shit for being a terrible father, I think we can all agree Garling is the worst father in the entirety of One Piece. Like, because the only reasons he spared his sons is because they basically are of his blood. They are his bloodline and it allows his legacy to continue on. That's it. And Shanks is obviously the black sheep disappointment for becoming a pirate. Whereas we get, so it's like, yeah, just Garland, go fuck yourself. And what makes it even more blamed is when we look at Rocks, like over is when we get Rocks over here, who by definition by the government is the most evil criminal on the planet according to them, and yeah, the only reason he's here on the island is to save his family. I mean, again, putting his other actions aside, because I'm sure those definitely could be considered crimes. It's one of those things that show just how twisted the world can be when the one who's supposed to be on the good side is the most evil piece of shit on the planet, and the one who's trying to save his family is on the bad side of the law. Like, yeah, it's again showing just how twisted the world can be. Of course, the cherry on top to this chapter for me is Garp's arrival on the island. And I'm not gonna lie, when God Valley first became a topic of discussion, I was so interested in just seeing how Garp's role in the story of God Valley played out in regards to Rocks and how he ended up teaming up with Roger. And while I still am curious about that, I'm much more intrigued now by what an interaction between Dragon and Garp would be like. Like, knowing Dragon was on God Valley now makes me wonder if this was also where father and son had a falling out. Like, it does feel perfectly set up for pretty much that on top of everything else, or at least being the catalyst for the eventual falling out that was to happen later. Like, no matter what happens, like no matter what happens after this, Dragon is going to leave the Navy, and he's going to strike out on his own in order to pursue his basically own justice for basically what is an unjust world. Like we all know how that plays out, and it's like this I think I would want to see I would like to see an interaction between father and son to really kind of like reinforce that point that no, this is all wrong, Dad. I'm going out on my own. I'm gonna pursue my own justice, even if it's not part of the Navy, kind of thing. Like, that just kind of feels like that just kind of feels like it's inevitability to happen. It's just a matter of when, if it's gonna be on God Valley itself or in the aftermath of it. And I don't know if granted, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I would like to see some kind of Dragon Garp interaction in the next chapter, although obviously that is something we're going to be waiting on, as always, taking a break, which, yeah, well deserved as far as the last couple chapters have been phenomenal, frankly. Now, in saying that, there is still that pesky little question of just who Dragon's wife, aka Luffy's mom, is. And at this point, I think it was Oda who once said this. I'm inclined to believe what Oda said is that I think we need to kind of temper our expectations as far as the identity of Luffy's mother is, because again, I do tend to believe what Oda says when he says that the identity of the mother doesn't matter. It's all just the thing that does matter is basically Dragon's journey, and who he married is kind of like is probably going to be like an afterthought kind of thing. And like but I imagine I don't think it's going to be like this huge big reveal that we're going to be saying, that's going to like cause like thousands of discussions on the internet. I don't think it's going to be that. Now, shifting gears to Roger Pirates for a bit, knowing what we know about the present timeline with Rayleigh being married to Shaki, it would be hilarious if Rayleigh kind of stumbles in discovering where Shaki is being kept, and this being the point in where he's like, you know what, fuck it, decides to be the one to rescue her, and in the aftermath of God Valley decides to give this whole thing with Shaki a bit of a shot as in sort of on-again, off-again romance up until the point where the journey with Roger is over. Like, I'd be willing to bet that's how this plays out, and just seeing Roger's face, that Rayleigh being the one who saved Shaki, is going to make this all the better just to see his reaction. But, yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Blue Sky, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Sunny off. Later, everyone.